8 minutes past 7 a.m. and you're still tuned to Sunrise at Sea right here on CTV. My name is Apollo Sarah and we continue the conversation from Twitter Jabs 1 and we now are in Twitter Jabs 2 and we are discussing the Russia-Ukraine conflict. So President Vladimir Putin did launch a military operation in Ukraine on Thursday last week with explosions that were heard across the country, and its foreign minister is warning of a full-scale invasion may be underway. Well, Russia has attacked Ukraine in what could be the start of a new European war over Russia's demands for an end to NATO's eastward expansion. In studio with me to deliberate and give us more insight on what this means and how Uganda may or may not be affected in this situation is a gentleman who has doctorates in management science, in political studies and law. He also has 2 master's degrees, one in law and the other in human rights. He's also a lecturer at Kampala International University in the fields of research, management, political studies, conflict and legal studies. Ladies and gentlemen, in studio with me is Dr. Barrio Gamwe. Yes, I said it right the second time. Barigayomwe, yes, Dr. Rogers Barigayomwe. Well, thank you, Doctor, for joining me today.
Thank you, Sarah.
So, Doctor, for my first question today is the Russian-Ukraine conflict, just in layman's language for the viewer. Could you please explain what that is or what exactly is going on?
In layman's language, what happens is Ukraine, which was formerly a member of USSR,
yes,
wants to join the European Union. And Russia, which is the biggest state of the former USSR,
yes,
thinks this shouldn't happen.
Yes.
And in a way, it is doing all it can to stop this expansion, the Ukraine joining the European Union.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically that is it.
So why does Russia have a problem with Ukraine doing it? Because Ukraine was declared an independent state by itself in 1991?
Yeah, definitely. You talked even of maybe a Third World War coming.
Yes.
But before the Third World War, there was what we call Cold War,
yes,
which was between capitalists and socialists.
Yes.
But what happened is, this war, the capitalists won it, and that is Western powers, Europe and America. But somehow Russia, having been a big power, still feels they have a second chance, a second opportunity to annex some of its former states, but also other parts of the world. Life is about control. They prefer controlling other countries than for them to lose many of their members. So what will happen is we'll see more of this, and we'll see more of Russia trying to resist.
Yes.
Because usually we all, like we're here in Uganda, want to be part of the East African bloc, a bigger bloc.
Yes.
So Ukraine, as a former state of USSR, feels it can no longer be on USSR, but it wants to join a bigger bloc of
the
European Union.
Yes.
There are economic benefits, there are political benefits, there are security benefits.
Yes.
But Russia knows that if it goes, it won't stop only at Ukraine. Other states will
follow
try
suit.
to follow. So it wants to stop this.
So
because in conventional war, sometimes you don't protect yourself by defending yourself, but you also attack.
All right, thank you. So now, for my first question is the conflict. Do you think it could have been avoided? Because they tried to talk for a very long time, but then tensions kept on building from 2021 into 2022 when Russia deployed, military, soldiers at the border with Ukraine. Do you think this could have been avoided?
It could have been avoided, but it is intentional.
Okay.
Expansionism is natural. Like, for example, we all know, like you said, I have to explain to these people in the best way possible. Like land here. Everyone, there are land conflicts, but yes, everyone wants to expand to get more land. Yes. People will even buy land which is conflicted. So it is intentional that any strong power wants to expand.
Yes.
And it started way back. So it could have been avoided, but it was intentional for Russia not to avoid. Actually, Russia knows that the Western powers combined with US are strong.
Yes.
And they could deter this, but it wants to get as much more ground, then go for peace talks. So that's why it's starting peace talk, but it wants to at least resist the takeover of Ukraine. It wants to be in control of Ukraine, then it has the peace talks with the larger powers when it has Ukraine in its hand.
Yes.
That's its intention.
With your speciality, do you think this could escalate into a World War III? Or is it manageable? Because now a number of big powers are now, getting involved in the conversation. Or that is, the UK has already placed sanctions on Russia. The US is also calling out Russia on what they're doing. Canada is also getting involved. Do you think this could escalate into a third world war? And what does it mean for us, third world countries?
Yeah, it won't necessarily be called World War III, but it's going to escalate in a big conflict, which possibly is even bigger than World War I and World War II. We had COVID, some call it World War III.
Yes.
This one is going to escalate. But what you should understand is that the wars which are meant to come forward are what they call spiritual wars. There is going to be a silent jihad, silent crusade. Even this one is a silent spiritual war. For example, I'll tell you that for one time, Putin is a strong Orthodox. And these spiritual forces, once they fight, they are the causes of every big conflict. Like, the one in the Middle East, which is between the Jews and the Arabs, is the biggest conflict in the world. So even the Orthodox faith, and if some people saw on our national TVs, you've seen the Orthodox faith imposing itself even on Uganda. But Putin has a very strong relationship with the Orthodox faith.
Yes.
So this is what you're going to likely see. And it will impose itself. Even here, that's how you will see the effect on... but what will happen, for example, in the European countries, because, for them, they have a budget. And their necessities their interests are paramount. But what's going to do is where, for example, we've been gaining from the aid from Europe is going to be cut because they have to fund the war.
Yes.
The Europe will now put more focus on funding the war against Russia than funding the third world countries.
Yes.
Yet we had many of their projects here, like I'll tell you some of the northern bypasses, European Union.
Yes.
So we are going to be affected in a way. But also, like I told you, you're going to see these wars have a spiritual connotation, and that's why you see the Orthodox Church sort of imposing. It's a spirit from Russia, from Putin, imposing itself on Uganda and its other countries.
When you say it's going to be a spiritual war, I do understand that because the Ukrainian president is a Jew. So perhaps, but let us not speculate. Moving on, do the sanctions that have been put on Russia hold any water? Because the UK has, the US has, and President Putin doesn't look to be shaken. He's still doing it, and it's now day 4 into the invasion. Does it hold any water?
Yeah, like I told you,
day 5.
His intention is to maximize on the first days. His last communication he put up is that you people have nuclear weapons. If you dare touch me, I'll use these. But he's just threatening so that in 10 days he can do something, but he will be the very first person to be quick on table to negotiate. Because Northern Korea had done it. He cannot, this world is a global economy. You cannot work in isolation. The effect which is going to be on the Russian, those who are soccer lovers, you've already seen the Abramovich give up Chelsea.
Exactly.
Because he's a Russian.
Yes.
And all his businesses he's fearing will be frozen. Most of the billionaires, the economy, the businesses they have, you cannot sustain it in this kind of world. So what will happen is you saw Shift has started. I mean, you will be in Russia and you cannot transact because you have your account maybe from outside Russia. So all these things will affect people. And that's why in Russia, they are sort of, they are breaking down social media because they know a revolt can come within Russia itself, because people, so long as the people are discontent, they are used to their trips, they are used to moving. In sports, I'm hearing some countries are saying they are not going to face Russia in the World Cup or World Cup qualifiers. So Russia cannot exist alone. Or no other country in the world now can exist alone. It can do for some time to satisfy their ego, but they cannot sustain themselves for a long time in isolation.
All right. So what does this mean for the African countries? I already asked this earlier, third world countries that have, been having some bilateral understanding with Russia, especially with the exclusion of Russia from most global activities, like you said, the sports, some of the UK has frozen assets of a number of billionaires and banks and companies in the UK. Also, YouTube has blocked a number of Russian influencers from monetizing their channels. So what does this mean for us as a continent in general? Yes.
Yeah, many countries, especially in African countries like Uganda, have been associated with Russia. They have some projects running with Russia. And Russia and the communists like China and Cuba did a lot for African countries to get independent.
Yes.
But at this level, it is about a capitalistic kind of war. Sanctions will be put on them, so they will fear. Even those ones who want to engage secretly, it will no longer be possible.
Yes.
They will be sabotaged. So they are certainly not going to be seen to associate with Russia openly. Like I've told you, Russian businessmen are also disassociating themselves
from Russia.
From Russia. So what will happen to these weak African countries? Our countries, our economies cannot stand alone. They fear this kind of isolation and they will keep away. But the effect will be seen because some of the support has been coming from Russia, and definitely it will be cut off. You've already seen it. The oil prices, the palm prices are going to go up because Russia has been a big player in the oil industry, in the mineral industry. So you're going to see many, like some inflation coming up.
It's already happening. I mean, look at our fuel prices already at 5,100 a liter for petrol. So it's already starting. We just hope that it doesn't, escalate and even get worse. So my next question to you is, what can the government of Uganda, how can we best secure our Ugandans living in Ukraine? Because the head of mission ambassador, that is Mr. Johnson Agara Olwa, did say that about a little over 100 Ugandans are stuck in the Ukraine, and they're in the Ukraine for various reasons, some for studies, business, or are working there. How best can we ensure that they can stay safe?
Yeah, the best way is one, to engage them, and very fast, because the technology, Russia is trying to shut down the social media kind of platforms, and very soon even the formal media let's say email can also be affected.
Yes.
So what will happen is a communication has to be sent to them to keep safe. But knowing Ugandans how they are, most of them will very fast move to European countries, because very few would want to come back here. We have our own issues here at home. So you won't tell them you are not safe there. And many people, they are also seeing home politics are also non-predictable. So most likely, the Ugandans themselves will find a way out to Europe.
Yes.
And maybe the US and Canada, the allies of Ukraine.
Yes. Well, Poland has opened their borders to, African immigrants who are living in the Ukraine, and saying that they can, go into Poland and they can stay there for up to 15 days. But do we have the resources and the capacity to actually evacuate our people from Europe?
We don't have the resources to sustain our own people here. So, and there is always a notion that by the time you are there, you can sustain yourself. I remember just during COVID here, my wife was in Canada.
Yes.
And we had to pay 3 times a ticket. No more. And government told us that, by the time you have your spouse in Canada, you have your relatives, that means you are well-to-do. We cannot have any assistance. So, in any case, some of our officials, even in foreign embassies, will even try to take advantage of our own people. Uganda is known for that. Even in times of need, they take advantage. You saw here COVID at the airport.
Yes.
We are taking advantage of our own nationals. So don't expect any serious assistance, at least financially, never. But it is going to be, if in any case, because of the corruption, it has gone to our embassies, so
Yes.
it will likely to affect. And I will send a message out to those Ugandans to try and do their own best.
Yes.
Not to expect so much here.
So they're basically on their own. So all we have to do is what? Stay calm and pray? That doesn't feel encouraging at all. But moving on to my next question. With Russia's invasion on Ukraine, what does this mean for Putin and Russia in general? Even after this situation has been de-escalated and, you know, come to a standstill or calm, I was about to say, where does it put Putin? How is this going to affect him and his regime?
Putin is going to be a candidate of the ICC. Already there is a case in the International Criminal Court of Justice, but also there are crimes already. Over 200 lives have been already lost.
Yes.
So to send a message out there to many of the dictators worldwide, Putin will be sent to the ICC, and, you know, he's going to be already, his assets are being frozen wherever, whichever countries they are freezing his assets. So he's not going to live as an ordinary, as he was. They are going to be sanctioned, especially on him as a person, because they know this is sort of not a Russian kind of war, but Putin has been instrumental. But on a light note, for me, I think the devil which came from COVID entered Putin, because somehow these things are predictable. Even in the Bible, it says wars will come,
diseases will come, pandemics,
so,
yes.
In the Bible, when Jesus chased the demons from a person, they went into the pigs.
Yes.
So when we prayed and chased the demon of COVID, it seems they entered Putin. Because somehow the world has never been stable from this chaos to this chaos. But this chaos is likely to affect the whole world and Putin himself.
Yes. So you say that he will be sanctioned by the ICC. Does that mean it will end his reign as president of Russia? Will he be forcefully removed?
No, it's not likely, because Putin is a dictator. And what will do, he will hold on to power. Actually, they are now going to make him more of a dictator. I wrote a dissertation. My PhD in political studies thesis was the challenges of ICC, that International Criminal Court creates dictators. Because when they know their only hope of clinging, of not going to The Hague is to be in power.
Yes.
They will hold on in a strong way. So in any case, Putin is going to be more dictatorial, especially to the Russian, than never before. He's going to try to cause some chaos in this world. But we should watch him, because he's going to fight like a wounded lion. He will not take it easy.
And what about the people of Russia? Do you think that they might rise up against their own president and perhaps have an internal revolution against him, because you're saying he's a dictator?
No, they are aimless, just like us. We are here in Uganda. They are aimless. You know that something is going wrong,
yes,
but you know it's the military in charge. You know, these are the sort of similar examples. The military is in charge and strongly in charge. So however much the citizens know, they don't have so much power, because he has always ruled like that. Putin was first president for the first 2 terms.
Yes.
He just put a stooge for only 4 years in Milosevic. Then he came back as president. Now this time he might even suspend the constitutional kind of, and he'll take over militarily.
Yes.
So remember, I've told you that now he knows he's a candidate of ICC. So don't expect any democratic governance in Russia. It's going to be actually more dictatorial.
Oh my goodness. So before I let you go, any final words that you would like to share with our viewer?
Yeah, final word is our viewers should know that these, like I told you, are more spiritual than even political. We have to watch the space and pray for Ukraine, and also pray for our own country like Uganda.
True.
That these people sometimes you call strong men can be dangerous. When you give them all the power you keep giving them, they will become strong, and you, the citizen, they say when the elephants fight, the
ground
suffers.
is the one suffers.
So
yes,
you make these people strong, you give them all these unlimited powers, you suffer. You remove all these limits to their power, you suffer, you as citizens. So you should watch out the people you're giving power.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Rogers. Thank you for that insight, and thank you for helping us understand the conflict and how it is going to affect us. Not may affect us, but is going to affect us in the long run. Well, that's all we had for you on this segment of the Twitter Jabs too. But stay tuned, because wellness is coming up, and I'll be talking to the doctor about kidney disease. So if you're curious to know what that is, the causes, the symptoms, and prevention, stay tuned. This is Sunrise at Sea. My name is Apollo Sarah. Don't blink.